What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Project Xtalk podcast, episode number 18, your weekly podcast all about Xbox. If you like that, please subscribe to the channel and drop us a like. We just hit 100 subscribers, and I want to say thank you so much for that. It means a lot to us. Next goal, 1,000. For the audio listeners, make sure to follow the podcast on your preferred podcast service and drop us a review. It does go a long way in helping us grow the channel and attract more listeners. My name is Kevin, aka the Muffin Mon. I'm your host as usual, and I'm joined by Tom and Garrett. How you guys doing?
Oh, I'm doing awesome.
Doing pretty good.
Well, I'm doing great because Ratchet and Clank got a release date today. So I'm pretty excited. Yeah, June 11th. Let's go. Before we get into the actual show, I just wanted to let everyone know we dropped another video this week. It's another episode in our Game Pass and Review series. I give our review of Gears Tactics. So go check that out on the channel if you missed that. That's all the housekeeping we got for today. So I'm going to jump right into our first segment. And as per usual here on Project Xtalk, we start it with what you playing? So, Tom, what you playing?
Right now, I'm just playing a lot of Control Ultimate Edition. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I love all the corridors and puzzles you have to go through. I'm going back through the same areas for new items. I'm actually surprised. I didn't think it was gonna be this kind of game. I thought it was just an action game, but when I jumped into it, I was like, all right, there's actually some like RPG elements, sort of, because like you have like little items you can do to modify your character. There's rarities on them too, and I was like, that's pretty neat. I actually might, go hunt for some of those. I'm having fun with it.
It's actually a bit of a sleeper. I'm downloading it right now myself. I got up to the TV, and then I sort of put it down, but I'm re-downloading it now.
What are you playing on quality or performance?
Definitely performance. I'd rather have like the smooth 60 FPS. I tried quality; it looks really good, but I think performance mode looks really good too. So I'm like, I'm not losing too much.
So I haven't played the base version. My brother's playing that on Game Pass, but I picked up the Ultimate Edition on PS Plus this month. And I'm playing on quality just because I think the ray tracing is like the best. It's the best ray tracing I've seen on a console. Everything's so shiny. It's so beautiful, especially when you get into the other like plane. I'm not that far into it. I'm a few hours in probably. It's not what I expected. And sometimes I'm a little confused. Like I feel like I got dropped into the middle of a story and I'm like, I think this will make more sense later on. It gives me, very Alan Wakey vibes for the story, but
Remedy likes to like confuse the hell out of us. Have you ever played like Max Payne in the past or Quantum Break? There's like, what the hell is going on?
The characters act like they know what's going on, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're all talking about.
I don't know. It's just comedic how quickly she took control of that place.
Yeah, director immediately off the rip.
Is
it a spoiler or happened in the first 5 minutes?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, I feel like she was like, I was looking for them to find my brother, and then they're like, oh, you're the new director. I'm like, when the fuck did that happen? Like, I just walked in the door. Like, what are you talking about?
And then, like, the whole, like, everyone in the whole building is just like, oh, so you're the new boss. Like,
was there a memo?
I just walked in off the street, you ass.
Did you guys know the other one blew his head off? Like,
we don't care about him anymore.
Yes, no one's shocked.
They keep sending out an email like, "Oh, the new director's showing up in 5 minutes." I'm like, "Peace out of here!" Like, what? It's so confusing. I'm enjoying it. I like I love the powers, like grabbing stuff and flinging it at people. It's really great.
Love it.
I don't mind the 30 FPS with the ray tracing, as long as you turn off motion blur. Otherwise, the camera makes you like sick when you're spinning it. Like, it's terrible.
That might have been my issue with it because I played other 30 FPS games last gen that were like action games and they felt fine. Maybe it is the motion blur.
Yeah, the motion blur has this weird effect when you spin the camera. Like the way I did it, I would just
slight blur.
Yeah, it's so bad on this game. I mean, I can't stand it, so I turned that off. I don't know what's the grain fill. I don't know. There's some other option in there that I see people say to turn off, but I can't tell the difference with it on. So, but I'm enjoying that, as well. Garrett, what are you playing?
I'm playing more Sea of Thieves, but I was playing a little bit of Void Bastards. That one of the BioShock creators created like a lower budget procedurally generated game where it's like a
Okay.
tactical shooter. So you take like a little loadout and salvage the spaceship, move on to the next one. It's pretty fun.
Okay. Is that the game where you respawn as like a randomly
A different
generated
criminal, but
character?
they're all for like very lame crimes.
Mhm.
Like my one guy, he had a negative effect about him, but he'd randomly fart, and that's what he was arrested for. Or like there was another one that because you could look up in their crimes and they got like a little stat that goes along with it. And I had a guy that was really short, and it turned out that he was trying to buy booze when he didn't, where he had a fake ID, and like your character was just like a 6-year-old.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Is this the one where if they're short and there's like a window, it actually makes it so like you can't see through the window and stuff? Is
a
that
little
this
bit,
game?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
I
haven't gotten that far through it on this playthrough, but yeah. I played it right when it came out, and they said they did a whole bunch of updates, so that's why I re-downloaded it.
I haven't played it mainly because I'm not a roguelite type of guy, but I have heard a lot about it. It's supposed to be good. I mean, in terms of what I'm playing, we already went over Control, so I'm not going to rave about that. I'm 55 hours into Persona 5 Royal now, so I'm getting there. We're gonna I'm maybe have it beat by the end of next week. I'm not sure. I want to try to get it done before Persona 5 Strikers comes out, because then I have 30 more hours to play in that.
Isn't the game already out? The reviews like are out at least. The
The
game
re-
is getting really good
The
reviews.
reviews are out. Yeah, the
It looks
reviews
so
are
good.
out.
I want it. I wasn't expecting it to be like that kind of game. So I'm like, okay.
No, the reviews are out. It's been out for a year in Japan, but it comes out on the 23rd, I believe, in the US. And when you look at it, it's like, oh, it's a Muso Dynasty Warriors type game. But from what I was reading, it's more like the hack and slash combat is more akin to like Kingdom Hearts type action combat. It doesn't feel as like just rapidly tap a button like Dynasty Warriors does. So I'm pretty excited. And it has a lot of the same Persona stuff that you do in the game. You don't have confidants and stuff, but it's not as basic as they just put the characters in a Dynasty Warrior game, which I'm really glad to hear. On the Xbox, I've been playing a game called Haven. It's on Game Pass. I'll probably do a review for it. You play as a couple, and it's funny because when you start the game, it says Haven is not a difficult game. We recommend playing on the default difficulty. I'm like, okay, well, I'll boost it up for a little challenge. You can't. You get normal or easy, and I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? So, I mean, that game is interesting. You play as a couple. They're stranded on some space planet, and you fly around and you have to clear rust and gather materials to like fix your ship. I don't know, man. I enjoy it for the character interaction, but in terms of the gameplay, it does have a combat system which is like a turn-based JRPG. It's not hard at all. They do, when they say it's not a hard game, they mean it's not like you're gonna kill everything in like 2 hits. So it's more of a story game, but it's a short game, so I'm working my way through that. And it's just fun. It's like Super Mario Sunshine, flying, like going around to all the little aisles and cleaning up the rust. And then I downloaded Immortals Phoenix Rising because it was on sale for $35. And I played like 40 minutes in that. So I don't really have an opinion on that so far. Just getting started, trying to beat through all the other games I have before I really dive into that because I have quite the backlog building up here. But besides that, got a lot of gaming coming up, but we seem to have a barren wasteland before. I think right around April, May is when games are basically going to start hitting us in rapid succession. So I'm looking forward to it. I think I can get through it by then. Anybody else have any games they want to talk about before I move on to the news?
Yeah, not that I can think of.
All right, so we'll jump into the news roundup for the week, and we'll start with story number 1. And the title was going to be, is there a new Halo game in development? And I was going to talk about the article from Tom Power IGN, where Microsoft has had a job listing for a producer position at 343, which said it was looking to hire a producer to help develop a new project in the Halo universe. And the listing asked for experience shipping AAA games. And this led to rumors that, it's Halo Wars 3 or a potential spin-off focusing on Fireteam Osiris. But then the 343 community manager, John Junzek, I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, had to go and ruin all our fun by saying he reached out to the team and was like, no, guys, this is just a copy and pasted job advertisement. It's for Halo Infinite, and just wrapping some stuff up this year. Which, kind of brought me down a little because I wanted to speculate. But we're going to speculate anyway. If he is lying, what type of Halo game would you like to see? Do you want a Halo Wars 3? Do you want a new ODST? Do you want a new genre of Halo?
Ooh, Can I go first on this one?
Go for it.
Go for it.
Because I thought Halo would actually be the best type. I forget what it was called, but it was like this game in the late 1990s called, I think it was like Raptor or Rapture or something like that. But it was an FPS and RTS game where it would be like Halo Wars, but you know how they had like the captains and everything in there?
Mm-hmm.
They would have missions to go out and help you. So they had like their own little FPF missions while you're doing the RTS war, right? So think about how cool that would be within like the videos where there's the huge fights going on, and it was actually some player controller is doing those fights and coordinating those. I think that would be badass.
Awesome. There's actually a game that's really similar, just not an FPS game. It was called Kingdom Come Deliverance. I played it on the original Xbox. It's RTS, and you also get full control of your character, like as you want, jumping in and out. So it was pretty neat. I think it would be really cool in a Halo game, actually.
I thought Kingdom Come Deliverance was the game.
I'm sorry.
You mean Kingdom Under Fire?
Kingdom Under Fire. That's the one.
That's immediately what I jumped to.
Yes.
I love those games. Yeah, that was like a RTS mixed with a hack and slash. Like you got to when you got to the battle, you got to go down and zoom in and control your main character. Start Dynasty Warriors hack and slash. Those games, I was looking them up the other day because I was like, oh man, I wish these were backwards compatible because I loved them. They did not review well. They're not.
They're
not held in the regard that I hold them. They have a special place in my heart. I think they're fantastic, but apparently they're critical.
Maybe the time is now. Like they're adding NPCs to all those battle royale games to go around like little hordes of zombies and things. They could do it.
That sounds interesting. I'm not sure how I would feel about sticking with the first-person shooter aspect. If we were going to get a spin-off of Halo, I would kind of like it to be a whole different genre. And I don't know if I want some overpowered like Spartan like we've seen with Halo Reach. And I mean, ODST, we weren't overly powerful. I would love to see some sort of, and I think this has been brought up on other podcasts, but the idea really stuck with me is a horror game in the Halo universe.
Oh, that would be cool.
But
the Flood?
So I was thinking the Flood. So you can either, I have two ideas here. So you can either be like a Marine or even a civilian that's like, part of some resistance, and like you've discovered the Flood for the first time. They have to make the Flood scarier though. Like they'd have to really get the atmosphere, because the Flood are gross, but they're not scary anymore. Like we've seen them so much. So they'd really have to retool the Flood, I think, for that. Another spinoff that I would love is to play as the Flood, but like start from like their origins and just get to where
instead of doing this time, it'd be like the war with the precursor.
Yeah. I would love to see if like from there, just a little change of pace from being like the good guys. Like let me be the bad guys for once.
But then again, just to go off your first idea with the horror game, you could have it as like you do different stories, right? Like let's say some mother shooters, but you could also do a civilian at the fall of Reach, right? You don't have to even do a soldier, because like your first encounter with the Covenant, like those jackals were terrifying. Let alone the elites. They have like shiny armor, but a giant turkey with a shield coming at you if you were just like a regular person.
I guess they could retool them because, maybe they're like only using those weapons because they know Master Chief and the Marines are like an actual threat to their life. But if they just see like a scrawny civilian, they're like, oh, we don't need this. And then they start like toying with them, make them real like, we're just going to mess with these humans, like torture them, do all this crazy stuff. I'd be down for that.
Give it like the whole OTS mood with, or ODST mood with the rainy, iridescent weather and stuff. You have to get out of the city to an escape ship. I could see that.
See, I would go with like even a darker ODST, and I would keep it a first-person shooter and more like a brother in arms type story. But like the lowest tier guys, like even ODST, I feel like they're a little bit too powerful. I want the guys that like, are actually going to be dying left and
Oh
right.
yeah, no, like this is a guy who's like his rocket launcher is like the assault rifle. Yeah, I'm finally a soldier.
This
Like
is
getting out of
John
boot
from
camp.
this is John from down the road, office building, gets thrown into the conflict, got grunts like punching him and he's flying, like getting bleeding everywhere. I could see something. And make it like get back to the M rating for Halo. Why did we ever I understand the ESRB was like this really doesn't, but let's make it a little more mature title, I think.
Yeah.
Do you have another idea, Tom? Or are you just sticking with the horror?
Just the first person shooter, not a horror game, just like a brother in arms first person shooter, low tier guys. I think it'd be a fun adventure. Fun enough adventure. And they can even throw it as a side story in Halo Infinite if the engine works enough and work around that.
Yeah, like a DLC add-on or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think there's definitely possibilities. Personally, Halo Wars doesn't do much for me. I've never really gotten into Halo Wars. I think there's better genres that we can spin Halo off into that would make some interesting stories. But speaking of Halo, our second story is Master Chief Collection coming to Switch and PlayStation. Probably not, but 343 teased that there's going to be a, quote, new place and way to play in the near future. 343 did say things could change and that they want to offer Master Chief Collection on a new platform for players to experience. I most likely think this refers to xCloud. I don't think that they're ever going to put Halo on another console. I think this is only referring to, hey, we're going to put it on streaming so you can play it on the go. If you guys have differing opinions, please let me know.
Streaming, and I'll go real buck wild here and say possibly, maybe, minusculely Epic.
Okay.
They could do that, but it's still the same platform. It's just like a
it's still
storefront.
PC.
But yeah, I think xCloud is the one that makes the most sense. And hell, I even throw in Mac OS because I don't believe it has Mac OS support.
Okay.
But besides that, I don't think there's no way it's coming to Switch. There's no way it's coming to PlayStation. If it did, that'd be freaking cool. But
that could go hand in hand with the streaming coming to OS later in the year, right?
iOS, yeah.
Yeah, they could put their PC games on Mac. That would actually make a lot of sense.
Is Master Chief Collection on Steam or is it just on the Microsoft Store?
Both.
Both? Okay. Yeah, Epic Game Store makes sense then, I think. I don't see why it wouldn't be on there. I mean, that's not a new platform. It's PC, but if there's people there like, I'm only using the Epic Game Store launcher, then I guess it lets them play. That'd be a weird stance to take, but I
hate that launcher, by the way. There's no achievements on it. I refuse to play Epic games on Epic Game Store.
I honestly don't have it. I know, aren't they putting? No, they're putting Crash on BattleNet. That's what it is. The only thing I think this rumor spawned is because people didn't realize Master Chief wasn't already on xCloud. Because it just it seems to be like, when you think about it, why wouldn't Halo be able to be on your streaming service? That's like your main franchise. So I think when people read that, they just immediately jump to other platforms, not realizing that you can't stream it.
Yeah, no, we meant your Galaxy.
Yeah. That the whole little line we put out with the controller and anyway. So I think we're all in agreement there. It's probably just going to come to xCloud and Epic Game Store at some point. So we'll move on to story number 3, and that is that the Xbox Series X and S, I have to lump them together, were the best-selling consoles in the UK in January. These numbers come from Stephanie Nunnally at VG247, who reports that the Series consoles came in first, followed by the Switch, who, side note, cannot be stopped. They're almost at 80 million now. Ridiculous. And third was PS5, but they do note that this is due to PS5 shortages in the UK. Now, I only bring this up. I think people need to look at this through a lens. And there's shortages of both these consoles. But this is Xbox's second biggest market. And if people can't get a PlayStation and they want a next-gen console, I think this is fine for Xbox. If they're stealing people away, they're like, PS5 is not available. I want a next-gen console. I might as well just get an Xbox. I don't think there's any problem. Maybe they find out they really like Xbox and they decide not to get a PS5, or they're like, I'll get a PS5 in the future when the price drops. But this is a good sign, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
Oh, you took the words out of my mouth. I'll just be quick. He said it for me.
I think it would. I think it is a good sign for sure. What I'm more curious is like, what were the actual shipping numbers between the PS5 and the Xbox in the UK specifically? I get there was a shortage of PlayStations, but how much of a shortage compared to the Xbox?
Yeah, I don't know the difference. I know that the PlayStation worldwide has sold for a little over 4.5 million. That's what they reported at their last investment meeting. And Xbox, they don't report the number, but insiders say it was roughly 3.5 million. So Xbox has actually caught up since we last had reported numbers where it was about 2-1. Now they're only about 1 million behind. So it seems there's more PlayStations worldwide than series consoles. But in the UK specifically, I'm not sure the discrepancy. I'm pretty sure PlayStation 5 is like the big console over there. But losing to Switch, a console that's been out, 3 years now, where Switch is also they can't keep them on the shelves. It's keeping right up with the next gen consoles.
Yeah, when I bought my second Switch a couple months ago, it was like it was a real chore to find one of those things. But yeah, I really think Xbox it is doing well. Like you said, it's definitely doing better than last generation. As long as we keep the momentum going, and as long as they don't mess up and do anything stupid like raise Xbox Live Gold prices like by double, they should be doing it. They should be fine. Like just keep the momentum going, and we'll be at a good place by the end of the generation for sure.
I would love to know if this was more the Series X or the Series S selling over there. I think that would be a good. I know they lump them together. I would love to see it broken down because maybe people are just buying the Series S consoles in preparation for when PS5s are available, because then they have, their cheaper Xbox Game Pass box available, which is part of their strategy, which is why Xbox, the whole reason they put it out. But I would love to see the breakdown. I don't think we'll ever get it, but it is just interesting. They're doing pretty well, and signs are looking good for Xbox. So we'll move on to another positive Xbox story. And we have an update on the Zenimax acquisition. I know last week we talked how the EU was going to have a ruling done by March 5th. However, it appears that that's being fast-tracked. On February 5th, it was revealed that they've already begun discussing this issue. Zenimax will be merged to a new Microsoft subsidiary called the Vault. Following the merger, the Vault will cease to exist and Zenimax will survive, leaving Microsoft with sole control of Zenimax. Third parties can file a dispute and were given 10 days to do so, meaning as of February 15th, which is Monday, so the day after this podcast posts, the EU could approve this and Microsoft could be well on its way to owning Zenimax. I think it still has to go through US approval, but if not, then they just own it there and then, I guess.
Yeah, I believe I read that for the US, it's sometime in the spring, like March or April, for it to be processed.
That makes sense.
But yeah,
know,
I mean,
man.
I
They were
don't think they're going to have
fast-tracked.
any contention with this. It's going to pass regardless. This isn't like I don't think this is like as a hotly debated like, oh, they're going to just like monopolize gaming. I think it's just one studio. There's enough of them out there, so it shouldn't be an issue for Microsoft. I really hope they push these out as soon as they can, though, because like we're still missing quite a bit of like ZeniMax games on Game Pass, and I want them now. Why am I waiting still?
You were going to say something, Garrett?
Oh no, I was just sort of adding in comment to him. I said my bit. He's 100% correct. Who knows what I could add to it? Could be a little bit more exciting that we'd probably get an event right after it, and with the EU fast tracking, maybe the states will too, and we'll
like
know
a game
like
announcement event.
yeah.
That would be great.
I think there's going to be one in the spring.
Was it Aaron Greenberg last night tweeted out a picture of the Microsoft logo plus, and then it had the Bethesda logo. So it's basically done. I think Microsoft is kind of, if one of their executives is like, yeah, we got it, then I don't really see an issue. Seems they're gonna wrap up. I would love a event right after to commemorate, but like, hey, we own it, and here's Starfield. Here's the worldwide premiere and release date. Like, just
here's your first official screenshot of Elder Scrolls.
No, here's your first official Bethesda exclusive.
So I don't care what. I had the thought, we're getting all these release dates for PlayStation. We know when Returnal's coming out. We know when Ratchet and Clank's coming out. They have a lineup, and Xbox, we're not really getting the release dates yet. And I feel like it has to be because they want the Zenimax deal to go through, and then they're going to announce something. They're going to have some event, and whether it's related to them or not, I think that's where we're going to get our big release dates of games that they haven't announced or games that are coming out this year.
Yeah, because they probably have enough games if they acquire ZeniMax that they want to keep everything spaced out. There might be some things that can pull out early if it doesn't happen for whatever reason, which I doubt, but it's a smart move on their part, I guess. But yeah, I want some release dates. Like, when is Halo officially coming out, guys?
Right?
I want the official release date.
Give me something. And
the
beta.
The fall's official.
Tied me over with a beta.
September, October.
I think it's going to be November for the 20th anniversary. I think they're just going to say November because that's technically fall still. I want something before then, though. Like, I just, some part of me just feels like Starfield is coming out this year, and people can say I'm crazy, but the way they talk about it, I just feel like that's going to be the first big thing they announce after they finalize this acquisition. They just can't say it until it's done.
Yeah,
I really hope Starfield does come out, though. I mean, it's definitely one of the more mysterious games coming from ZeniMax that intrigues me. I'm assuming Skyrim in space, but who knows what they're going to throw at us at this point. I really just want to see some information on it, some gameplay on it, even if it doesn't come out for another 2 years. If it did come out this year, even great. But I've some information. I will be like to hype me up even more and give me a better idea of what actually is coming. Let's do that.
Definitely. So I think that ends it for the news this week, but we'll go into our rumor roundup section of the show. And the first rumor comes courtesy of Jez Corden from Windows Central. Speaking on the recent episode of the Xbox 2 podcast, Jez revealed that he heard Microsoft wants to make a new Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct, a series of fighting games originally created by Rare, another Xbox game studio, with the last entry in the series being the reboot that we saw on the Xbox One. Metacritic of that game, and this was surprising to me. I looked up Killer Instinct because I started doing a deep dive. The Metacritic of the reboot was an 86, and user score was an 8.0. I did not know it was that well received, and it's actually gained a bit of a resurgence in recent weeks with Maximilian Dude hosting a tournament on Twitch Rivals, which drew nearly 40K viewers. And it was going to be part of EVO Online this year, but unfortunately EVO was canceled due to some shady business with that shall not be named in the fighting community. But what do you guys think about Killer Instinct?
I brought this up a while ago.
Not here to defend it.
What was I getting?
Oh no, I'm gonna defend it.
Oh, you're gonna be the one that
I brought it up a while ago on our podcast, and I would love to see a new Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct, even the one that came out on the Xbox One, it did really good. They did have some development issues, and then they even switched developers mid-cycle, and it really screwed up a lot of the future plans that they had with the game. I think if we get a solid developer moving forward, because even the foundation of what we had in Killer Instinct, the reboot, it was really good. as long as they're actually consistent with it and they hand it over to a developer that does not have any other of priorities besides Killer Instinct, I think it could do well. Again, the main issue with the last one is like the priorities shift. I believe they got bought out or something like that, and then they had to work on some other game, and that really did like it stopped like Killer Instinct from being what it could have been, but still a good game regardless.
I hear it has one of the best net codes in fighting games.
It feels so smooth. Like it feels like you're playing local, like most of the time.
Maybe I should check Killer Instinct out. I think it's on Game. It's on Game Pass. It's made by them. Of course, it's on Game Pass. Maybe I'll give that a look. Garrett, it sounded like you were not the biggest fan of Killer Instinct down there.
Oh no, we made him stop talking. I think I took the words like I was like, oh man, he doesn't have a defense again anymore.
I muted myself. I'm here. I was just going on my how high rant. Okay, you mother. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's like I don't know, man. Killer Instinct. Like I remember that back with like PlayStation, right? Like that's the one that was way back in the day. Like I remember because of the wolf dude. But
there's
like,
a wolf
it
dude.
Can go. Yeah. Well, no, it's just like the signature, one of the main characters, right? But
yeah,
like I remember playing this game a while ago, and it's like even back then I was like, it's the one that like if Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter were too mainstream for you, you'd play Killer Instinct.
That's funny you say that because Killer Instinct is often described as a mix between those two games.
Right? Like it's like, I don't play Mortal Kombat. I don't play Street Fighter. I play. Like, all right, whatever, buddy.
Smashed. That's right. You know, the problem with those fighting, you know, I can't do the button inputs. Okay, that's why I don't play Ken or Ryu in Smash because you have or Terry. You got to do the actual inputs. But I might give Killer Instinct. You know, I like fighting games. I'm just really bad at traditional fighting games. My thing with Killer Instinct was I looked it up and I wasn't aware that like the Arbiter is a character and what's the general? What's the general from Gears of War? In the first trilogy. I forget his name. He's in there.
I got the Battletoads too.
There's a Battletoads.
Yeah.
Oh my. Okay, maybe I need to download this game because I was playing Battletoads a few weeks ago. My friend at his house, and that game's so hard.
Dude, it's hard. Ridiculous. Especially like the biking levels. They just go on for so long.
We spent 38 minutes on that first bike
right.
level, and it's like gold complete in 8 minutes. So I was like, yeah, we're pretty close. I also got it. Like, oh man. But okay, Killer Instinct sounds fun. I mean, I'm all for it. I've read articles that they want to make a new one, but they can't because there's no developer available. But like, you have 24 of them. What do you mean none of them are available?
I don't know. That's the only line in that article that got me excited. Like, nobody has time for it. That means they're on something.
It's not even time though. Like, who in their arsenal do they have now that is actually good at fighting games? I think that's the main thing. And we can't give it to Rare. Rare's busy.
Yeah, they're updating Sea of Thieves because I did see people say give it to Rare. No, they're updating Sea of Thieves and they're making Everwild, so they definitely don't have time. And I don't know if it's the same Rare team that made this kill. Like, you know,
it's people leave companies. It's like 20 years old, that game, or over that. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really what they want to do. I'm sure they could find someone, even if they have to outsource it, someone to make Killer Instinct for them. But I guess
they're getting buddy with like Sega. You know, if they land at a virtual fighter developers, give it to them, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say Virtua Fighter, like special guest would be like, you know, do you have a special guest appearance? I would just love, because I brought up the Arbiter and General, whatever his name is, I can't remember, but in the Battletoads now, would Killer Instinct be a good place to like make their IP like their Smash Brothers like more different from Smash Brothers? So we had PlayStation All Stars, and that failed miserably. But do you think Killer Instinct should be like the platform where Xbox is like, let's take our IPs and put them in a fighting game, a more traditional one, not rip off Super Smash Brothers.
I think it would be a good place. I mean, I think Killer Instinct already is a pretty easy game. Like, it pretty much gives you the combos. You just tap one button most of the time. You can get a little bit more complex if you really want to. So definitely somewhere, I think that'd be a good place for it. You know, throw Master Chief in there, throw a little bit of more gears, I guess.
This is appealing to me more the more you say it.
No.
Easy button presses. That sounds great with me.
Vote it down. I think I said a few shows ago that like if they made a Smash like put all the characters together game, I would hope that it's gonna be like, let's say, a Fusion Frenzy meets Battle Royale. It'd be like 2 modes. You can take like the Master Chief and jump around in a giant ball. It would be cool. It would be cool.
Party
Just saying.
Battle Royale, sure, why not?
Dude wants Halo Cross Super Monkey Ball over here. But we'll see developments on that. Rumor number 2 that we're going to move on to now was, were Microsoft considering acquiring Gearbox before the Embracer deal? This rumor comes from Gaming Bolt. Last week, Gearbox announced that they had been acquired by Embracer Group, and shortly after, Brad Sams and Jez Corden went on Twitter and claimed that Microsoft had been looking to add Gearbox to their studios, but it did not materialize. Gearbox will still work with 2K regarding Borderlands, but I want to know, how would you guys have felt if Microsoft had gotten Gearbox?
I don't think it's one of the studios that I would have chosen for Microsoft either way. I forget whatever the head guy is, but he's like a douche.
Randy Pitchford.
Yeah, he's a douche.
Yeah.
I don't like the guy. Just pretty much based on whatever I see on Twitter, it's like, oh my god, this guy.
Yeah, he's very sensationalist.
But
Like,
no,
I'm
honestly,
not relevant anymore. Time to go do something stupid.
honestly, Gearbox, they have Borderlands, but I don't know what else they can offer me. The only other game prior to that I've played is their old Brother in Arms World War II series, which was an okay game. But like, I mean, I don't. What do you guys have to offer me? What IPs are you bringing with you if you can't bring Borderlands? I don't want you then. If you can't bring Borderlands, I don't want you.
Battleborn.
Oh god.
Yeah, for 3 people that play
Talk
it, you
about
want
that game.
I love Battleborn. Me and my friends, that's still the best multiplayer game I played last gen.
That's not even kidding. I love that game, but it's dead now, so rest in peace.
My brother loves Borderlands. I don't really care for the series. I wouldn't have been excited by this acquisition, especially because it's another first-person shooter, and that's like the last thing Microsoft needs in their repertoire of games.
But it's a looter shooter, and it's PvE, and not a games as a service. So it's like super good in that way.
I guess. Do we not have other PvE looter shoot? There's what's
Not
the
exclusive.
No.
Outer Worlds it's like a Fallout RPG. I wouldn't consider that the same vein. Plus, this is multiplayer.
Garrett, what's your feelings on Gearbox?
I liked Borderlands. I'm not gonna like knock that. Like, I like looter shooters, but no, it just would have been, we have too many shooters at that point. It would have felt a little saturated with the amount of shooters that Xbox would own then.
Definitely.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, it would almost feel like they're just taking any 3-person. Like, the only people left to go after would be like Battlefield and Call of Duty then, and reacquired Destiny, and then it's just, if you want to shoot something, you have to play Xbox.
And that's one. I'd be excited if they acquired Bungie again.
Yes. I would, I don't even care if they're just going to support Destiny. Just having them back would be great. Having them, the possibility of them making
just to
another
be able
game.
to call on the staff at times.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Destiny is a fantastic shooter. Like, that shooting is something Bungie always gets right, in my opinion.
I mean, I have not played a bad Halo game besides Halo 4, and it wasn't made by
But we all
them,
know
so.
they're working
And 5,
on
what
their
am I talking about?
Super Suit Robot Horse bow game. Okay,
Well,
so
5 multiplayer is fantastic.
I like the multiplayer. I like the abilities they brought in there. 4, they try to make the multiplayer like Call of Duty by adding like kill streaks type stuff, and I was like, this is not Halo anymore. Get the hell out of my face.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with that. Gearbox. I'm glad they went to Embracer, who's snapping up every IP known to man, and a bunch of other. They bought like 3 other studios when they announced Gearbox as well. I think Asper, the people that did the KOTOR.
Yeah, where did
ports.
these guys come from?
Yeah, are they publishers? Because I've never seen a game published by Embracer.
So they used to be called THQ Nordic. Maybe you heard of them.
Oh, actually, I
Okay.
have heard a lot about them. They're
Yeah.
actually a
So
very like low key player. They own a lot of the B-rate games.
yeah, they
Like
did.
if it's
So
B-rate,
yeah,
there's like a
Embracer Group
60%
is like
chance they're
their
gold.
Embracer Group is like their overarching, like what they're under the umbrella of. Kind of like how Zenimax is Bethesda, but everyone just says like Bethesda. So like THQ Nordic is in there, but they own so many. I think somebody counted up, and they had like 150 plus IPs, and most of them are just
Yeah.
sitting, not doing anything.
Yeah, it's like I've read an article on them a while ago, and there's like he ran the numbers, and if it's not an A-rate game, there's like a 55% chance that it's owned by those guys eventually.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's like it's insane.
I remember the head was speaking about how he loves the video game industry and like how he just wants to buy more studios. And I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Like, stop buying studios, make games. Like, but
But that's
they
the
made
see
SpongeBob, that SpongeBob remaster that came out last year. Great, cool.
yeah, but that's sort of
Don't
a
hate on
part
the
of his
game. That game's good.
Or
I hear the remake is not very good.
I haven't played the remake. I played the original. I like the
Yeah.
original.
Yeah. Well, as we wait for Embracer to buy up the rest of the gaming industry, we'll move on to our third rumor, which is, could Microsoft be making enhancements to backwards compatibility? This comes from Spanish tech YouTuber El Analista de Bits, who apparently is a gaming channel that focuses on the technical analysis and comparison videos, kind of like Digital Foundry in Spain from the sounds of it. But they sent out a little message, and it was like, on February 17th, Xbox fans are going to have some very exciting
Content on the channel. I can't say more until that day. Thanks to Xbox for giving me early access so I can prepare my coverage in advance.
That tweet doesn't make any reference to the Xbox Series X and S backwards compatibility improvement, but then a tease from well-known insider Clobril suggests that this announcement could be related to the frame rate doubling tech that Microsoft revealed last year, but is yet to implement. And I remember they showed this off leading up to launch. They're like, here's I think it was Fallout 4. They were like, here's Fallout 4 running at 60 with our new technology. And I was talking about this with someone else. I had assumed that had come out already. I don't play Fallout. I don't know if it's running at 60 4K on the Series X, but someone was like, no, it's still 30 without mods. So this is pretty exciting. What do you guys think?
I can't wait. If this is true, this is easily the biggest update that Microsoft would have done on their Xbox console. This is a seller right here for me. I have all these old games that are locked at 30 FPS that I would love to play at a like smoother 60. There's Outer Worlds, for example, which is still locked at 30. I want to play Outer Worlds, and I think it'd be so much better at 60 because it's a first-person shooter. And it's just so cool. Like, I can go back, for example, play Dark Souls 3, another game that benefits the 60 FPS. It's locked at 30 right now and unlocked on the PlayStation. If we can get that same experience now, I'd be really excited. Definitely unlocked frame rate would be a game changer for sure. It needs to happen ASAP. I really hope this rumor pans itself out.
Garrett?
personally, I think it should have been there at launch.
It wasn't ready. Just like Quick Resume wasn't fully ready.
You have enough
Hate it
staff,
anyways.
Microsoft. Chop, chop.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't want people to get confused, because clearly the Series X, if you have an unlocked frame rate, it is going to boost it up automatically on the new console. So if you're playing a backwards compatible game that had an unlocked frame rate, it's going to boost to 60 or above, most likely. This is specifically technology that's going to take those 30 FPS games and double it to 60, or old 60 FPS games and double them to 120 potentially. So that's really where it gets exciting in my perspective. It's not about the games that are already boosted with the new technology. It's about the games that the developers locked at 30 forever ago. Maybe they're not even in business anymore. They can't just release a patch and double these games. This technology would make those games miles better.
Exactly. Like when I first got my Series X, I went to a bunch of the unlocked frame rate games. Like I went back to Monster Hunter World and played their performance mode, and I was like, "Oh, this feels so much better. I wish every game was like this."
Yeah.
And now, hopefully, we'll have that experience throughout. I'm wondering how this technology works. Probably more information will come on that as well. But if this pans out, and PlayStation, if PlayStation as well has nothing to counter this, on top of that, people are gonna eye Xbox and say, "What? I can play my old games and unlock the frame rate and actually make it to a 60 FPS instead of a 30." That would be so freaking cool for Xbox. And there's so many people who just have old games. We want to still play our old games. There's not a lot of new games yet, so this is real beneficial.
I can't say it better than myself. They rumor on the tech YouTuber says on the 17th, so that's next week. So by the time we record this,
I'm ready. Give me that gift, Microsoft.
By the time we record this podcast next week, we could be seeing double frame rates on some of our old games, and then it opens up a whole new possibility. I won't have to hear anyone complain about not being able to play at 30 anymore, even though you just spent 10 years doing it.
But wait a second, wouldn't that mean like all games would be slightly, not completely with ray tracing and all the fanciness, but all games be slightly less optimized?
I don't know if they're optimized, because optimized means like you take advantage of like the load, like the SSD for loading, and like I think there's more to optimization than just boosted frame. I know the SSD automatically makes it like better loading times, better frame rates for unlocked, and better textures, and we have auto HDR. So I mean, a lot of games are just naturally enhanced on the Series X. I would love some of those features on my PlayStation 5, like auto HDR, when I'm playing PS4 games. But
yeah, that'd be good, especially going back and playing some of the older platformers on there, because they have a lot of them. Like if I went back and play Little Big Planet 3, now I'm playing it at a 60, but they don't have that feature. So,
well, they also took it off the store. You can't play it. You can only play it on Little Big Planet 3. You can't play it on the You have to get it through PS Now. I literally today I was looking at that.
Oh no. Yeah. I have it out. I have it purchased, so I'm good.
It's good.
But it's an exclusive. Why wouldn't they just have it there?
Well, PS5 can only play PS4 games. And Little Big Planet 3 was originally was it cross-gen? Was there PS3 and PS4?
Yeah, it was PS3 and PS4.
Yeah.
Oh, very technical.
So you have to
PlayStation.
Yeah, so you have to play the PS3 versions or PS Now. But that requires you to subscribe to PS Now, which I'm definitely not going to do.
Yeah, no.
We got Game Pass. We don't need that. PS Now.
Yeah.
We don't talk about that.
PS Plus is enough. PS Plus is enough. You give me enough stuff over there. I'm having a good time. So that's all our rumors for the week. Now we're going to end the show. We haven't done this in a while. A few viewer questions and a fun topic, just because it's a little slow news week, and we're going to have some fun. So we got 2 viewer questions, and we'll go into a fun topic. Viewer question number 1 comes from Reaction Jutsu on Twitter, and they asked, do you think there are more new IPs that Bethesda is developing that we don't know about, similar to Indiana Jones? You guys think they got some secrets?
Yes.
Yeah, they have so many development studios. Yeah, it is for sure.
All right, Tom's video's lagging pretty bad for me.
Yeah, what was that? I got the audio lag. What?
We are experiencing some technical issues. Garrett, I'm going to let you answer the question. Maybe Tom's video can fix itself.
I'm sorry, that was so funny. What was the question again? Bethesda games, more IPs.
Do you think they got secret IPs?
Oh, for sure. Like, it's going to be a bit like the Avowed thing where they got something in the pipe that sort of helped butter it up. Because, like, 7.5 billion, that's a lot of money. There would have to be some sleeper hit. And they were obviously working on a couple with PlayStation with the Ghost Tokyo and Time Loop. Deathloop, sorry. Yeah. But there would for sure be 2 or 3, I think. Like, not big things like Fallout level or Skyrim levels, but yeah, something. Or who knows, maybe the Starfield, they have full intentions on going exclusive right out of the hop, and that's why it hasn't been announced yet. Who knows on that one? But 2 or 3, I'd put my money on.
I saw.
I say even more than that. Zenimax has so many studios, man. They have so many development studios. There's no way we're like they have so much things lined up. And definitely new IPs. I am not gonna be surprised like once they start chucking them at us, and I'm just gonna try to catch them.
Yeah. Well, we will. All on Game Pass for free.
I saw it going around that people are speculating that they're working on a Planet of the Apes game, and I don't really know what. Like, I get they're connecting it to Indiana Jones, but I don't really Planet of the Apes. Like, is that a? I don't think that's a big like. Oh my god, stellar video game IP that people will get excited for. Like, Indiana Jones is something everyone knows and loves, and I get Planet of the Apes is like a big
I don't
movie
know,
deal,
though.
but it doesn't have the same
Imagine if they
recognition.
did like the newer ones with like technologically driven sort of battlefield type, where you're just like a regular ape or a regular soldier, and you just fight the other side. Apes are all like coming through the trees with like big.
I don't know. I
man
wouldn't be
traps
interested
and
in that
stuff.
though.
No, me picturing playing as a monkey fighting other monkeys or fighting humans, like it just doesn't. It looks dumb in my brain when I picture it.
Well, have you never
See.
played Rampage before?
No, I know they made a movie out of that too, didn't they?
It was
With The
bad.
Rock.
It was
Oh
bad.
god.
I think they do. I don't know if it's Planet of the Apes. I hope not. I'd hope for something a little more exciting, but we'll see. We're gonna move on to his second question, or her second question. I'm not assuming their gender. Would you trade the Fallout IP for the Final Fantasy IP? And Garrett,
Yes.
you said Garrett wanted to address this before the show. He told me.
I couldn't wait. The second I read that, I was like, no. Personally, man, I'm not a JRPG guy, and like Final Fantasy, that just stop kicking that horse, guys. Leave it alone.
What are they
Leave it.
kick? Like it's not dying though. It's not. They're not kicking a dead horse.
This is for. I'm going to bring something up that happened out in our Discord outside of this call, and Amon's not here to defend himself. But Amon literally went on record in our Discord and said Final Fantasy sucks. Besides Final Fantasy VII Remake, he literally said the entire franchise is garbage.
I won't go that far. I'm just saying, like, it's been going for so long.
Because every game, because of their quality. Listen, I've only played 7, 8, 15, and I think that's it. I'm waiting on. I haven't played the remake of 7 actually. I'm waiting for the potential PS5 version or Xbox version. You know, if it comes to Game Pass. But I've only played a few, and they're all good. Like everything I've experienced has been good with Final Fantasy, and it's the second highest JRPG of all time, only behind Pokemon. So, like, if
Really,
Pokemon's,
I did not know that fact. I thought it was like slowly, just every game was still pretty good, but they're slowly losing the numbers. So I'm sorry, I stand corrected on that, but I'll stand by my position.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy is an icon.
For sure, I'd take that over Fallout any day. I mean, for my Fallouts, I'll have Oddworlds now. Obsidian. I don't need Fallout. They can leave.
Oh, well, I think Fallout's.
I'm just saying,
I think Fallout's boring. So
after the WB purchase, and they're allowed to put the Nemesis systems into all of the Bethesda games, it'll be amazing. But that's my sleeping bet for like the next few years.
You're really driving this horse that they're gonna buy WB. It's not happening, man. Let it go. Let it go. Let it die.
Let it
Yeah.
go when you let go that the fox is yellow.
He's not. Tails is yellow. Yeah, you just confirm. Yeah. No, Tails is yellow. Yeah. He's not orange. Okay. But no, I would trade it in a heartbeat. You're making me lose my train of thought here. I would trade
Maybe one day.
Fallout in a heartbeat for Final Fantasy, because Fallout is gray, it's boring, does nothing interesting. Nothing excites me
Oh
about Fallout.
no! You just said no.
I think I'm getting some audio lag with Tom here. Oh, that was hilarious. Your audio sounded like you were arguing with me about Fallout being boring and gray.
Oh, is he gone again?
Yeah, your audio is just
Did it?
lagging.
I'm here. Do you guys hear me?
Listen, Final Fantasy,
Okay.
way more colorful, better characters, better worlds, better story. Fallout is like the end of the world. Everything, like, go
It's
look
got
at
some
these.
grit to it with some out there stories about people turning other people into squirrel bits and feeding them to towns.
And
Where's that in Final Fantasy?
But you just said he had
It's
too many
not just an
FPSs
FPS.
anyways.
It wasn't
So we can just get rid of that
originally like it was
FPS.
like a third like top-down sort of type game,
That's
and it's
true,
all
but
about like probabilities on shots, right? So,
yeah,
like, yeah,
But
I
now it's
like it
not.
more that it is an FPS type game, but it's definitely an RPG.
I'm
I
glad
would
you
say.
brought that up. That combat system, atrocious. It's gotta be said. The whole choosing what body part to target and like the probability, atrocious. I hate it. It's not fun in the slightest. Like, what is
But
exciting
you
about that?
enjoy turn-based JRPGs?
Yes, because
Where is this line?
I have to plan out my moves like oh, this character's gonna do this. This character's gonna buff it. Like, there's more strategy involved to it than like, oh, I'm gonna shoot his leg and there's an 80% chance I hit. Let's go.
That's up for debate on another day. We'll have that as a fun topic.
Turn based versus whatever you call that. So, yeah, I would in a heartbeat, but we're clearly divided on this. I'm glad I got Tom here backing me up. Amon, I imagine, would be on your side. And by imagine, I mean I know 100%
It's all
he would be
good.
on your side.
I'll take you both.
All right. And for our final bit of conversation, we're going to end with our fun topic of the week. And Tom actually suggested this one. He wanted to know, what underrated game series would you like to come see or come to Game Pass? Jumbled my words there. But what underrated game series would you like to see come to Game Pass? And I stress underrated. Tom, since you...
like...
Ooh, Garrett, you got a series already?
No, like I'm going through my head right now, and it's just like everyone I already play is because it's on Game Pass, so I can't give you an answer on that one.
Okay.
But you never played anything prior to that. That's like it could be from any generation. Like I said, it could be even a remake. Just something that you would want them to bring to us on Game Pass.
I was mainly
It's
like a very
you feel it's
just
underrated.
like popular, as long as it wasn't Call of Duty or like a JRPG, chances are I just had it. And like it was just like Mass Effect, BioShocks have been my favorite games. I still play them like once a year, all the way through.
Well, those
So,
are
like,
certainly rated.
Yeah, right? So I can't put those up there. So it's like I'm drawing blanks on that. What's an underrated game that...
We'll come back to you, Tom.
So I think I've been really in the mood of playing Stardew Valley lately again, and they added like their new 1.5 update, which added a bunch of new stuff, and I can't wait to go back to that soon. So I was thinking like, oh, there's other games like Stardew Valley, and they're pretty underrated. And one of them that I played on PC, so it's not on console yet, but it's something I would like to see come to console on Xbox and on Game Pass. It's called Staxel. It's like Stardew Valley in a lot of ways, but it's a 3D voxel world. And the co-oping is actually pretty fun, and I feel the game's super underappreciated. Unlike Stardew Valley, where you can invite your friend and you guys can like work on your farm together. All they have in Stardew Valley is like, oh, you have your own house, but we still share the same farm. And Staxel is like, oh, no, there's 4 different plots of farms with 4 different houses, And I thought it was like the best idea. It's like, oh, we have we all have our own separate farm. We're growing crops. We're trading with each other. We're gonna go mining. It's just a fun game, and I think I love that kind of like Harvest Moon kind of game. So definitely, this is one that people are sleeping on, and if it comes to Game Pass, give it a shot.
I've never heard of it. So my original thought, and I didn't know we were going to talk about it earlier in the episode, was Kingdom Under Fire. I had no idea that you were going to bring it up. That's what that was my original thought. I thought about the Tales series, but I know Vesperia is on there, and it's underrated from a JRPG perspective, in my opinion. But it is still one of I think it's in the top 10 best JRPG selling of all time. So I don't know if it, in terms of actual games, it's underrated. Just maybe when you compare it to the other JRPG series. But I would go Kingdom Under Fire, definitely. Just throw the original ones on, like the Xbox. I think there's one for the 360. You can throw them all on there, please. Just give me them. They deserve some love, and I would play through them again in a heartbeat.
I would too. That'd be so cool. And Tales of, I would like to see all of them too. I think Berseria is my favorite one. If they can bring Berseria on there, please.
Symphonia. I don't know if everyone saw my Twitter. Symphonia is one of my favorite games of all time. Might be my favorite game of all time. I've played through it like 25 times at least.
Didn't they delay the newest one?
Tales of Arise, yeah, it was supposed to come out last year. It got delayed until this year sometime, and we haven't heard anything about it.
No release date. Oh boy.
Nope, no release date. I know Bandai Namco makes them, and they're busy working on Scarlet Nexus. I'm not sure if they want their two big JRPG titles coming out in the same time frame. So Tales of Arise might be towards the end of the year because Scarlet Nexus is supposed to be summer. Or it could fall into 2022, which I certainly hope not. But we will find out. Garrett, did you think of anything?
The only one I could say that might be on Game Pass, actually, now that I think of it, Prototype 1 and 2. I like those games.
That is underrated.
That's underrated, but I think it's properly rated.
Oh, Prototype games are cool, man.
Yeah, dude, they were awesome.
It was made off the same engine like that. You ever play that Incredible Hulk game, Garrett?
I played the Incredible Hulk game.
It's the same engine, and it feels exactly like that, but just like with better combat. And I was like, this game is freaking cool, and I'm just like killing everyone. It was not to like.
Or how you could go to grab a random person off the side of the street and just rip them to the top and consume them. And
exactly.
Become them and just
you thought you were going to live
go
your
into
life
the
today?
next little military outpost and just hey sir, you shouldn't be around here. There's a monster around. Just rip everything up.
Where do you get off breathing? I think those are some good choices. I'm not hopeful for most of them to come to Game Pass, but those are some good choices. I think that'll do it for us this week, guys. It's been a fun show. We've had a lot of laughs. So, if you like the video, like I said, subscribe to the channel. We do weekly content, more than just the podcast. If you're audio only, you are missing out on our other content. So go to the YouTube channel. It's Project Xtalk on YouTube. And you can always follow us on Twitter at Project Xtalk. You can join the Discord, which we'll have a link to, and the invite code on our outline here. And you can follow me at the Muffin Mon on Twitter and Xbox. And Tom, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Chronicle Tom, and you can find me on Xbox at Alpaca Space Tom 5087.
And Garrett, where can they find you?
You can find me at Way1G at Twitter and my gamer tag. And actually, I recently got the password you gave me to Twitch, so you can probably find me on there for some other random outlandish opinions on the world in these days. Come down and talk.
Yeah, Garrett said he's going to start streaming on our Twitch channel. So that's Project Xtalk on Twitch. If you guys want to go drop us a follow for when we go live and just hang out and watch him play some games. But other than that, we'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
All right, peace out.